When you take away all of that stuff, you take away all the outside stuff, we're all the same. We care about the same things. If it's really connecting to the human, to the heart, to the center.
Yeah.
And I think that's one common denominator. And if we can reach people at that level, that's how we connect people.
Yes.
It's the other stuff that just gets in the way that causes a disconnection, which I think is a whole nother topic of society where we're disconnected.
Right.
So can we come here and take away all of the, outer layers and connect, no matter who you are, what you have, what you drive, what you do, what you believe, that's
No, I think that's super important,
Yeah.
and I respect that
Mm-hmm.
because I feel and think a lot of that, and to know that you're behind what is going to be an amazing project at Mantarraya is really important. Like, who's behind
Yeah.
the planning, who's behind the decision making, who's influencing what's going to get put there, and you being open and your whole team being open to hear other people. I think that's really, really important.
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja California Sur. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're in Loreto, Danzante Bay, and Chelsea Kmiec is our special guest. Thank you for joining us, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we just completed our kind of wellness program this morning, and the project is Mantarraya, just over there. You were brought into this project as the wellness director. For what purpose?
So the purpose of coming into this project was to find a way to really bring, I should back up. My background before coming to this project is wellness in real estate. So it's this growing sector in the wellness market that has to do with real estate. So what we're realizing with the consumer, or the real estate consumer, is that people really care so much more about how they live with where they live. So it's less about, all the fancy properties and things that people still, enjoy luxury, but we really care more about how we live. So how is the elements of the house and, what surroundings we have? Do we have access to healthy food? Do we have access to activities such as hiking or things that are really beneficial for our well-being and our mental health? And I think that's more relevant today than ever before, especially coming out of the last few years that we've been in.
Right.
So coming into this project was really to bring that all together. So can we bring all of that wellness and well-being and bring it into how and where people live in paradise?
Yeah. I always say that we don't sell four walls and a roof. We sell the experience and the lifestyle. And here at Danzante Bay, at Mantarraya, it is definitely the lifestyle. We're here on the beach, the calm weather, the calm water. And you said that this has been a growing trend in real estate. That's the wellness concept. What does wellness mean to you?
So wellness to me, and I was, actually that was a question that came up today, and I'll just reference that question.
Yeah.
Someone asked me the difference between, wellness and say a spa, because we have a lot of properties that maybe say they have wellness, but you go there and they have massages and yoga classes, right? So to me, spa and these kinds of services are about the outside. And wellness and well-being is about the inside to me. So it's really nourishing from the inside out, and it's one of those themes that we want to have in this community that we're building. We definitely want to help people as many ways that we can, but we want this to come from the inside out, and also, respecting the surroundings that we're in. So each property, is going to have its own energy as far as where it is in the world, right?
So for you, I know you're still designing and perfecting what wellness means and applies to Mantarraya, but what can you share with some of the ideas that are being tossed around so far?
Sure. I can share, the concept. I think the most important thing is that we are respecting and celebrating just the nature of this town, the nature of this area, because it really is unique. You can go to Cabo, you can go to different areas, and they have their own unique properties, but I didn't believe this until I actually came myself the last few times I've been here, that there is magic in this area, the mountains and the ocean. And so we want to play off of that and really use those elements to our advantage when it comes to well-being. So we have some concepts that we'll have throughout the community, which will be explore, restore, and live well is kind of what we're playing with as far as the concept. And we see that as really important. So you'll see that in some of the things that we're doing is about restore, bringing people back to balance. So restoring mind, body, spirit, exploring. So maybe you're going to a place you've never been. Maybe you're trying something you've never tried before. Maybe you're exploring some of the everyday stresses that you have. And then really living well is just about celebrating a life well lived. So you cannot come here to Loreto and not be happy, not feel like in a mood of celebration, of joy. Like we walk around here and people are smiling just because of this environment. And I think we're gonna celebrate that, and we wanna really play to that.
So what are some of the explore ideas that you're toying with right now inside of, that you can share with us?
Yeah, of course, of course. You know, I think I look at this idea of exploring, it could go all different directions. So it could be exploring in nature, so out exploring. There's beautiful hiking trails here that I didn't really know about until maybe my second trip. I said, oh wow, you know, you can really hike into the mountains, so you can explore new areas. I think exploring new activities will be a fun thing to consider. So I know that there's beautiful wildlife. So we would imagine maybe things such as like a photography class or being able to, you know, paint or do a craft. And that is, again, bringing the inside out with us. And I think exploring our minds, our mindfulness, our, you know, the ability to really heal our minds from the hustle and bustle of the everyday life that we live and connected to technology and our phones. And so that's the explore piece to me.
Everyone, we got a glimpse of that this morning. We were doing yoga practice, and we did some meditation. We did some journaling, and all without cell phones.
Yes.
And I know a number of us were very nervous. I still haven't had my cell phone for probably 3 hours, and it feels amazing.
There's a threshold where you just kind of surrender to it, you know? Like you're like, I don't want to give it away, and then once you do, you're like, I don't think I want it back. You know?
Yeah, I was trying to find our camera guys right before recording, and I was like, how do I get a hold of them? I couldn't find them. I didn't know where you guys were, but I just went to the beach and I found them.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so explore, and what would be like some restorative type things that you're thinking about?
I think we would look into more like meditation activities, really finding technologies and services that can help people into a deeper meditative state to sort of explore their own well-being would be one of the things I would say on the higher tech sort of spectrum of the things that we might want to, you know, offer to help people.
You totally lost me. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like using meditation, but
well, there are technologies. So we look at kind of, I don't want to use the word biohacking, but that's kind of a big term. But there are some technologies that can be beneficial to our health, such as like red light therapies and things that we know have scientific benefits to, say, you know, lower inflammation levels and, you know, help with cellular function and things like that. So when we can help people with those elements, then the exploring into the mind becomes a lot easier because it sort of quiets everything down. So we would, you know, find these different ways to package things like that to help people. So everything is, how can we help you go deeper? How can we help you explore? You know, I would imagine that some people might come, maybe they're going through a challenging time in their life and they want to come get away. And I feel like Loreto is the perfect place to do that. And so we would offer services that support that type of explore as well, that type of.
So when we're talking about the wellness and the whole planning stage of it, what do you do in terms of bringing in outside help?
So that's interesting. So we really looked around. We wanted to assemble a team. So I think that, you know, it's important to get perspectives from different sides of the industry because, to be honest, this part of the industry is kind of new, right? This where we're bringing communities and well-being and wellness and how is it different from a spa and a health club and a fitness center. And so it's so new. We wanted to bring in some of the best consultants that have seen some of the most and worked on some of the most amazing properties. So we found a gem in there that we were able to work with. And this team, in particular, consulting group, one of them has worked on properties like Amman, the Shangri-La, the Four Seasons, Mandarin Oriental. And so we have that level of expertise influencing us and helping us, you know, how do we create this experience and really, you know, invigorating people with the local culture and nature and then also adding in these elements of wellness and well-being.
Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. How long have you been working on this project so far?
So I would say the project itself, I want to say the planning stages, probably the last 6 or 8 months, really the last 4 to 6 being heavy
Right.
concept development, because a lot of it was gathering information. And I think the most important thing and most exciting thing for me is we did a lot of listening, and that was huge. Listening to not only consultants, but we'd come here and talk to locals. We did a lot of focus groups. We talked to our target demographic, some of the residents and potential owners, and so we want to really cater that to something that people are going to love.
What have you found in the target groups and talking to people and the consultants, all the different groups that are going to be end users of wellness or that are in this new space? What are some of the things that you're hearing in terms of what elements should be included?
I think the most important thing and most interesting thing, and maybe the most obvious thing, is that throughout all the demographic groups, and the unique thing about this project is that we are servicing a wide spectrum of demographics, probably a wider spectrum than other projects I've worked on because of the unique nature of where we are. But the really cool thing is that one common theme is that so many people now care about their health and their wellness and their well-being, especially where we are in just our lifetime. So I find that really interesting. It's really about the difference in demographics to me is the delivery of it. So we're really delivering kind of the same thing. Everyone cares about the same thing, but it's how we package it and how we deliver it that kind of makes the difference. And it's doing it in a way that will service all of those.
What I
Did I
liked,
answer your question?
Yeah, no. What I
Yeah.
liked when you gave the presentation to a small group of us just earlier was the focus of it being unpretentious. And being a longtime resident in the Baja, that's something that I've seen with the people that have come consistently to the Baja, and all walks of life, all different demographics. But whether you're rich, medium class, upper middle, it's that unpretentious, flip-flops, shorts. I mean, look at us. We're in
I know.
sports gear,
Yeah.
and we're on the beach, and you wouldn't know anyone any differently because we're all the same in the end.
It's funny you say that because that's one of the things that honestly that I have loved about my chosen career path. I started off in the fitness industry many years ago. My joke is I started when I was 7 years old. That's my joke of how long I've been doing this. And the one thing I've always loved is, let's say I would teach a fitness class, and I never knew who was who. So even teaching in Los Angeles, I remember a couple years later, I found that I was working with a Grammy-nominated artist, and I was like, oh my gosh, I never knew. But we all, like when you take away all of that stuff, you take away all the outside stuff, we're all the same, we care about the same things. If it's really connecting to the human, to the heart, to the center, and I think that's one common denominator. And if we can reach people at that level, that's how we connect people. It's the other stuff that just gets in the way that causes a disconnection, which I think is a whole nother topic of society where we're disconnected. So can we come here and take away all of the outer layers and connect, no matter who you are, what you have, what you drive, what you do, what you believe, that's
No, I think that's super important,
Yeah.
and I respect that because I feel and think a lot of that, and to know that you're behind what is going to be an amazing project at Mantarraya is really important. Like who's behind the planning, who's behind the decision making, who's influencing what's going to get put there, and you being open and your whole team being open to hear other people. I think that's really, really important. So I see a crane right over there. And so we just completed the first building of the residences. But what can people expect over the next couple of years in terms of the wellness center?
So the wellness center in the next couple of years, we expect it to be done. And we know that, we're creating a center, and I think I mentioned this when we were in our presentation, that this wellness center is really the glue of the community, essentially, because we know we have residents that are, the residences themselves will be based around wellness. And what that means is, you'll notice things such as, the lighting, the things that people can choose, and how the property's laid out, the certain walking paths you might have. So that will all be there. We will have, a hotel that's going to be centered around wellness as well. And then the well-being center in the middle, which we think will really connect people because it's going to service the residents and also service the hotel guests and really bring them together in this very beautiful way to create a community of, you may not know who's the hotel or who lives here or whatever, what they do. And that's really, I think, the kind of the glue of it. From a component standpoint, the center we're building is going to be focused more on well-being, the well-being aspect. We want to have, services that are results driven. So we want people to actually leave feeling differently, and hopefully that's a better, right? Whether that's more connected to themselves, connected to each other, maybe they're receiving specific health benefits. That's an important piece as well.
What was interesting is the use of practitioners in different disciplines centered around wellness. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you're thinking of?
Sure. I think it's interesting when you think about wellness or well-being that, there's many different disciplines that can help people. And one important aspect of what we want to build is that community. And we actually talk about it as a collective. So our goal will be to bring in and group together some of the top, wellness professionals, that we can access. Many of them we would love to be able to fly in and create an attractive sort of offering for them, but also the ability to really offer that to the residents here and the hotel guests. So we know that wellness takes many shapes. We don't want to be stuck in a box to say, oh, we only do acupuncture, we only do this, or we want to have, and that again goes back to the explore. What does it mean to explore? So it's exploring all of these different various services and treatments and options, and doesn't mean we'll be all over the place. It means we're going to have a core structure, but also exploring these different ideas and practices.
Are there any other communities that you're aware of that do that kind of collective, where they're bringing in practitioners to a resort, to a wellness center, and people can experience that?
No, you'll find, retreats and things. People are brought in to do like a specific retreat, but our vision for it is much different. Our vision is creating a very large extended family within the wellness community, so that, we want this to be home for people, home for practitioners and home for the residents. And even when the hotel guests are here, they feel at home. That's a very important part. So I would say, with the vision that we have, nothing that I know of right now, with the exception of people doing retreats, but I find that to be a little different. That's a very, it is I don't want to say disconnected, but it's a different application.
Well, I can see with the residences, the hotel, and building all of it around this collective, it becomes a part of the community. And so it's this living, breathing thing that is constantly evolving and changing. And so I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for this evening. We're going to have our launch event. And Chelsea, thanks for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to that wellness center. And for everyone else, Mantarraya, we're located in Danzante Bay here in Loreto. Look us up. And until the next one, bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate, and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.